Hey everybody, today I'm going to do a quick product review of the Notch brand Climber's Best Friend Mini Wedge. It's sold on treestuff.com. Hi everyone, welcome to Good Day Farm. My name is Travis and today I'm going to do another product review video for a mini wedge for felling. It's sold on treestuff.com. Notch is the brand, and this is the product here. I want to first off say I haven't used it a whole lot, but I did get a chance to take it out and kind of do some deliberate things with it that I thought, when I first got this, what I thought this would come in handy for. So I'm not a tree climber, anything like that, and this is marketed to climbers to be, something handy they can put in their pocket, I guess, for when they need a little assistance, getting, I guess, notching over something up in a tree. I do firewood. If you follow my channel, you'll see that, exclusively what I do is firewood. I do fell trees, but also take care of a lot of downed, storm damage, type stuff that's already like blowdown stuff. So the first thing I thought of where this little mini wedge, excuse me, would come in handy would be basically the same situation where I would use one like this. This is obviously a little bit bigger, but this is, up until I got this was the smallest wedge that I had in my arsenal. So for what I was thinking this would be good for would be either when I'm cutting really large rounds, and what I like to do when I'm, we're talking like 36-inch or, maybe 28-inch round logs. When you're cutting through those rounds that big, they like to close up on you before you get all the way through. And so I always pop a wedge in at the top and kind of just give it a good whack, just to make sure it's set in there, and that way the log can't, the weight of the log can't close up on my saw. So I thought this would come in really handy for that. And then the other circumstance would be when you are, let's say you've got a downed tree and some limbs, whatever, it's holding it up, it's under tension, and you're going to cut through, and the tension binds it and it'll pinch your saw that way. If you didn't cut a relief back cut, or even sometimes it's happened to me where even though I've cut a relief, unless I cut a full notch, I'll make like a relief cut, it'll still pinch tighter than that. And I thought this would be a good place to use something like this to either prevent that or to rescue your bar out of that situation. So I got a chance to try that, test it out a little bit. I've used it a little bit. So let's just kind of go over the wedge real quick. First, it's that same kind of plastic material that we're used to with all our modern plastic wedges. So that's, it's lightweight, it's small. The edges on it are points right here, are pretty sharp. So I would be careful about what pocket you put it in, as far as, if it's, say, a front pocket where you might be bending over or something, it might poke you. I did not put this in my pocket. I carry a little tote with me when I go out into the woods, and I just carry all my stuff in there, and when I'm done using it, I throw it right back in there. I tend to not lose stuff that way. So, but this could be thrown in a pocket or something. That'd be fine. My main concern was how durable it was. So used it a few times, like I said, and in the basic scenarios where I just wanted to prevent a log from closing in, you don't gotta set it in your kerf and just kind of, you can hit it with the back of your hand or just tap it with your axe or whatever. No big deal. Handles that fine, like you would expect. But under a load, so what I did was I had and unfortunately I didn't get into this on video. I apologize. I didn't even really think about it at the time. I was just out cutting firewood and tested this out. Maybe later I can make a video of this scenario. But so what I did was I had a log that was, probably about 14 inches. I had worked, it started out about a 20-inch cherry tree, and I was working down, bucking it into firewood, and I got down to where it was probably about 14 inches, a little more than a foot, and it was suspended in the air. And so I thought, here's an opportunity for me to see if this wedge will do what I think it will do, or hope it will do. So I deliberately just cut straight through it, without doing any kind of, the situation where it was at should have been cut, like say from the top down, with maybe a relief cut, and the tension would have pulled it away from you. Does that make sense? And I cut from the bottom up, and so when the the tension, it pinched my bar and I couldn't finish going through my cut. I had about 2 inches left to go to get out, and so I said, let's see what this will do. So there's, just because the log closed up, there's still a little bit of kerf available This is a very thin wedge where it starts here. I don't know how well that'll show up on camera. As you can see, pretty thin, and then it does quickly come out to a wide point. Unlike a wedge like this, if we were to compare these side by side, the narrow part of this is really short, and sometimes in a pinched log, you can't get this hammered in. Where this one, you can see, is more of a sliver. Plus, by the time this is to the wide part where it's going to actually be pushing on the log, is way before, lets more wedge get in the wood and open it up before this. This one is too fat, too quick for this type of situation. So all I did was position this in the bottom cut, and got it into where I could kind of push it by hand. Took the back of my axe and just started driving on it, and it probably buried it, just got into this thick part, and sure enough, I mean, I could see it. It lifted the log just enough, and my saw started to drop, and I was able to pull it right out. How well did the wedge handle that? Pretty good. You can see some white, hard to see it there, but that's the stress, where eventually, if I keep pounding in that area, it's probably going to break and fracture. That's what that's from. But I would bet, I mean, I whacked it pretty hard with my 5-pound splitting axe, and enough to separate this log that was probably 50 feet long total, and where I cut that, had the tension of probably 30 feet hanging off. So it opened that up pretty good. I would say for the price, this was, I believe, like $7. If you're making an order from Tree Stuff already, maybe throw 1 or 2 of these in your basket, and just to get a feel for how they are. But I think it's a pretty versatile tool, worth having in your toolbox when you go out cutting. Of course, none of us ever want to get our saw bound up or pinched anywhere, and those of us, as we gain more experience in how to cut, tend to have that happen less. But I know for, when I first started sawing, and a lot of new people, when they saw it, happens a lot. And you end up in a situation, especially if you don't have a secondary saw or a secondary bar that you can take your power head off and hook up a new bar and do, and all that. You're left in a situation of, how do I get my saw free? And this was a pretty safe and easy way. Now, I don't know that it would separate a much bigger log. Let's say it was at the other end 20 inches off the stump, and it did that. I might have been stuck there. What it would do, though, is open it up enough to get a bigger wedge like this started and hammered in, or even up to a bigger wedge, and eventually, free my saw. I'm not really going to test that theory. Just a lot of work and stuff. But for what I suspected this would be good for, it is good for. It absolutely, you're not going to bang over a big tree or anything with this, but I don't think that's what the intent of this. This is just meant to be a pocket wedge, and literally prevent, throw it in a curve. That's why it's, I think, in my opinion, that's why it's so shallow like that. So you can shove it in a, like say a 6-inch branch or something, and especially for a climber with a smaller bar, you're already halfway in, and if you realize, oh, this might bind up, you can just stuff this in there, and it's going to prevent that. Or if you're cutting the top out of a tree, this might help you give that little assist to wedge it over the way you want. But you're not going to wedge over a 3-foot tree with this, of course. Highly recommend it. I think, like I said, for the price, you can't go wrong. Pick 1 or 2 of these up, throw them in your bag. I'll continue to use this and see, like I said, it has a few little stress marks here. There's like 1 or 2 on the wedge face. No more than I would expect with, on these kind. I get the same problem, and eventually that cracks or chips off. So I'm going to continue to use it, and if I have a total unexpected, like catastrophic failure from it, like, oh wow, that's a bummer, I'll do another video on it. But right now I'm going to stand by what my first impressions are, and I think it's just an inexpensive, great little tool just to throw in your kit, even for firewood cutters, because of those situations where you may get your bar pinched. Anyhow, I'll put a link in the description for this. Like I said, it's available at treestuff.com, and I believe it's like $6.99. And it's something that, like I said, would be really neat to just add it to your basket if you're already ordering stuff there. And anyhow, it's called the Climber's Best Friend, or something like that, Mini Wedge. So thanks for watching, you guys. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you think of the review down in the comments. I'll put in the description a link to where you can purchase this. And if there's any other products that you want me to try and review, go ahead and mention that. I don't have a huge budget, so I can't, just go out and buy anything and everything to test out. But we'll make a mental list of some things that people might be interested in, especially for firewood. So anyhow, thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be safe out there, and just use common sense when you're using your chainsaw. Thanks a lot now. Bye.